Yo, FBI man. How's the investigation?
Hey there, boss. What you need? You name it, I got it.
Oh, my Lord, you sure look sharp today, Mr. York.
Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, and there's no turning back now. Remember what we saw on our way here? Back when we were driving that hybrid car before we switched over to the skate. We passed over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the longest bridge over water in the entire world. Remember the sudden downpour that made it impossible for us to see the road? The rain was so torrential that we couldn't see more than a few miles ahead of us. Were you thinking about Galena too? And all the other women we've seen so far on our travels across the states? Zach, I'm right, aren't I? This is a vast country. Incredibly vast. And it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland, with small towns scattered about here and there.
Agent York, why? We've been in this town for longer than we originally planned, haven't we? Oh no, I'm not complaining. I'm used to living out of a hotel, and I love southern food. There are some inconveniences, though. There's no movie theater in this town, nor is there a video rental store, and the TV in the hotel room doesn't get any of the on-demand movie channels. We'll just have to get lucky and encounter a movie being shown on TV. The movie environment in Bukhara is no different from that of the 70s, Zach. No, they don't have a movie theater. So I suppose it's even farther back than that. But it's true that these are the times in which one always encounters the best movies. It's always been that way, hasn't it? Think back with me. Remember that hotel in the rundown town near Monroeville, just outside of Pittsburgh? I took a shower, and by the time I got back into bed, it had already started. Time Walker. 1982, directed by Tom Kennedy. I started watching it without any idea as to what it was about. It instantly got me hooked. The plot highly exceeded all my expectations, constantly revealing shocking truth after shocking truth. It was a hyper-realism masterpiece. Even after we checked out from the hotel, we couldn't get that film out of our heads. Not even when we stopped by the Monroeville Mall, the primary filming location for Dawn of the Dead. Instead of the living dead, both you and I were totally preoccupied with thoughts of that living mummy. And we were so excited to visit the Monroeville Mall, too. You kept insisting that you were going to track down those kumquats that Roger had eaten. In fact, I'm pretty sure the only reason I took on that case was because I knew it would let us travel out there. Instead, Time Walker inside of us. That's all we could think about. Even when we were inside the mall, we were both off in a different world. There you have it, Zach. A beautiful memory of an encounter with an 80s masterpiece in a very unexpected place. This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? The streets in New Orleans were a mess, all busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where large tree roots were pushing up parts of the asphalt on the sidewalk. Those bumps were dangerous even when we still had our car, remember? But this town is different. The streets are all paved so cleanly that we...
Oh, you're still here, Agent York?
Today the town feels kind of weird. Yep. Today the town feels kind of weird. Yep.
Oh, you're still here, Agent York? Oh, you're still here, Agent York?
Were you thinking about Galena too? And all the other women we've seen so far on our travels across the states? Zach, I'm right, aren't I? This is a vast country. Incredibly vast. And it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland, with small towns scattered about here and there. That's how America looks to me. This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Ungan. Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand. And Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, it would have been shut up in that vast, desolate evidence. One lollipop, 2 lollipops, 3 lollipops. Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up.
If this town has a symbol, it's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth, Minnesota. Remember what happened there? That man went to such great lengths to collect his victims' tongues. You know, the one who would French kiss them every day as they slowly decomposed. As I drove him to the station after his arrest, he started lecturing me on the proper way to give someone a kiss. Anyway, back to Duluth. They have a famous lift bridge there called the Aerial Lift Bridge. The lift bridge here is the first one we've seen since then, but this one looks a lot smaller than the Aerial Lift Bridge. Its smaller size was most likely chosen due to the width of the river and the sea level of this area. The height and structure of a bridge is what determines which sort of boats can travel down the river. Normal bridges' base heights are set at a higher point so that boats can freely pass underneath them. But I imagine it would be difficult to create a bridge with a large arch here due to the river width and the sea level. That's Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Lena Doman, a.k.a. Professor R. How could such an intelligent person like her suffer such a tragic downfall? Does the South really corrupt people, like Patty said? This sunlight certainly seems capable of breaking someone down. No matter how you try to resist it, it's so hot it feels like I'm burning up, but that doesn't explain it. Perhaps we really do need to focus on the Clarkson bloodline itself. Patty's okay? She acts strong, but it seemed like she was deeply distraught. Where did Melvin disappear to? The same goes for her mother. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. Why do you think the Clarksons chose a dragonfly for their family crest? In some European countries, dragonflies are called devil's needles, and folklore suggests that they fly around, sewing up the mouths of children who don't do as they're told. In Japan, some samurai helmets are also shaped like dragonflies. There, dragonflies are seen as beneficial insects who march valiantly ahead, preying on the pests that devour crops. In other words, dragonflies symbolize opposite things depending on whether you're in the east or the west. But why did the Clarksons choose this insect to be their symbol? I can't help but feel like it's something deeper than the cliched image of dragonflies as guardians of crops. Hungan called the dragonfly a flying serpent. What if his interpretation was right on the mark? The Clarksons are serpentine.
Even I can feel it. You almost got this sucker solved, ain't you?
Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, Zach, and there's no turning back now. Remember what we saw on our way here? Back when we were driving that hybrid car before we switched over to the skateboard. We passed over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the longest bridge over water in the entire world. Remember the sudden downpour that made it impossible for us to see the road? The rain was so torrential that we couldn't see more than a few miles ahead of us. I'm sure local drivers are used to that sort of thing. They were all going normal speeds. Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess. All busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where large tree roots were pushing up parts of the asphalt and the sidewalk. Those bumps were dangerous even when we still had our car, remember? But this town is different. The streets are all paved so cleanly that we can skate along them without a care in the world. And there's hardly any trash or graffiti to be found anywhere. The Clarksons truly do control this place, for better or worse. It's a good example of how allowing certain people to rise to power can have positive effects as well. Also, don't you find that Southern
Looks like a case of bad timing, Zach. Let's come back later.